Yay, I actually unmuted myself this time. Hey, that's not the right class. That was this morning. Dang it. Yeah, well. So close. So close to being correct, but yet so not actually correct. So, welcome everyone to the Beading Dreams Torch Thursday stream. Lori, yeah, no. That's a whole lot of nope for me. Again, reasons I live in Texas. Alright, so yes, that is the letter S for anybody who is understandably confused by the fact that it doesn't look like an S. I swear it is. Yeah, so welcome to Torch Thursday for a tube and bezel set ring. So we are, let's see, we are not going to be doing Torch Thursday the week of Christmas. What I have planned for next week is 3 classes of Christmas presents, holiday gifts that you can make, hopefully with things you have. Okay, well now that Lori said that, I'd change it. I swear to God, it's an S. There. Now it is emphatically an S. That's all good, Lori. So next week we have, next week because of Christmas I'm only streaming Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday at 6 p.m., Thursday at noon, Thursday at 6 p.m. 3 tutorials. We're focusing on holiday presents that you can make with minimal effort and things that you hopefully already have in the house. If you're hiding inside from minus 40-degree weather, this should be extra useful to you. So that's next week, but I'm not going to do a torch stream because I know that not everybody has a torch in their house. So next week is just going to be regular Thursday. It's not going to be Torch Thursday. It's going to be last minute Christmas present Thursday instead. And then we will go back to Torch Thursday, I think, the following week. So welcome to the second to last Torch Thursday of 2021. Yes, I do actually know what year it is, contrary to what you're probably going to see on the highlights reel in the new year. So this is a fun combined setting project. So 2 of my favorite types of setting, bezel setting and tube setting. So and I am not gonna lie, I made this ring in a big furry hurry. Like, this was, you know, last week I was trying to finish my samples on Thursday before 6 p.m. because I have to get all of the photos and supply lists to our graphic designer by Friday so that she can get all of the website updated and everything in time for the following week. So I didn't do the best job on this as far as like setting it goes, but of course technique is the important part. We're here to educate, not necessarily to show off how skilled I am, but to help you guys become more skilled with your setting. So this is actually a custom made bezel for an irregularly shaped stone. So if any of you out there are, you know, rock hoarders like I am, I know you're out there. I see you, each and every one of you. I can't see you. I do know that you're a rock hoarder as well, but I'm talking to them that I'm pointing at right now. Y'all are, I know y'all are rock hoarders. And your rocks don't always come in nicely calibrated shapes and sizes, so it's a really spectacularly good tool in your toolbox to be able to create a custom bezel setting for all of your weird, wonky, you know, misshapen and misfit rocks. So we're going to do a custom bezel setting, and then we're going to accent it with, depending on time, I may only do 1 tube setting, so we may actually wind up with an asymmetrical ring. which is definitely something that appeals to me. I know it's not something that appeals to everybody, but we're going to do a tube setting and then make a ring band, and we're going to see how this all goes. Of course, we are going to be unboxing our shaker and spoon cocktail box at 7:30 p.m. Pam, you're hilarious. And Aso, thank you so much for the, first of all, thank you for the lines of bold text that basically say, hey dumbass, save your XSplit presentation before you start messing with things. Which I haven't done yet, which is why I haven't opened the other presentations, because I appreciate the hey dumbass don't do that bolded lines of text. You still,
not dying.
Okay, Heather,
still not dying.
Still alive. So thank you for that. I will try to get to that between streams if I have time. But for now, let's talk tools and supplies for this evening's tutorial. So as far as supplies go, you're going to need your sheet metal. Ah, boo, Pam, that sucks. See, but I love like the fact that you know split out the important parts of the wall of text for those of us who may be a little bit, you know, prone to just kind of skimming walls of text and not actually reading them. Oh dear. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much for knowing enough to accommodate for all of this, you know, group of people, you and I, who are like wall of text. Zone out. Unless it's like a fiction book, and then I'll just like tear through it. But I have always had the problem of I read so fast that I don't always retain. Which is why I can reread books over and over again, is because it's like I'll read the story and I'll experience the story, but I definitely don't always retain all or even most of the details. That's also why I'm crap at book club. Also the fact that I only read the book like 20% of the time. There's also that, but thankfully my book club likes me for me and doesn't rely on me for witty discussion about
great refreshments, I hear.
Also the book club really likes, Carol's not wrong, book club really likes my cooking.
Because your cooking is amazing.
Yeah, so you know, thankfully they don't rely on me for witty repartee about the actual book, because I'm really crap at that. Always have been, always will be. I mean, I did manage, I was a really great writer in college. Well, not great, but good enough to get good grades. Writer in college about things, but I literally would have to like write, like I'd have to read the thing and then I'd have to write the thing immediately before all the details just like, you know, like
sifted out
of my brain. Okay, so you're going to need sheet metal. 22 or 24, even 26 gauge sheet metal will work. I'm pretty sure that this is a piece of 24. Obviously this is a scrap from another project. You can tell because it is gross looking, but as long as we flex it well enough, it will work. We're gonna need a stone. I haven't actually picked a stone yet. It's the holiday season. Did I mention that? Is everyone aware of the fact that it's the holiday season and all of us Beading Dreams people are, just this side of a nervous breakdown? Some of us are actually the other side of a nervous breakdown and just hiding it really, really well. Okay, so now I have a stone. So I have this, right, Lori? Alright, so I'm going to use this Star Instantite. So the only thing I need to make sure is that I have enough metal to accommodate my stone, which I do. I mean, I could even do this with a little bit less metal if I wanted to. I'm going to need heavy wall tubing, and so they sell this on Rio Grande, and they're really great on Rio, and I don't know if this is the right size for these stones either, so this is going to be an interesting moment of either yay or Allison curses way before 9 p.m.
I'm prepared.
Yep, that is way too big. That enough it. Okay. Whiskey of something.
I was promised swears.
You can drink anyway. It's okay.
Okay.
Heather's like, but wait. You were gonna legitimize my drinking, and now you stopped. I will always legitimize your drinking. Don't you worry.
The sun has gone down and the moon has come up.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, so who has seen the meme that starts with "'Twas the night before Christmas" and all through the house, and then it just transitions right into
I'm about to post it.
He's Going the Distance by Cake. I think that's Cake, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Okay, I found a little green sapphire that'll fit. So, the stream has been saved. Hooray! So, this is heavy wall tubing. Rio Grande sells this stuff, as do, I'm sure, most other findings manufacturers. So, I know I've done tube setting on stream before, but what you want is you want a stone, and who else saw that?
I saw nothing.
See if I have another one of those dang sapphires. I do.
Did it go on the floor?
It went on the floor. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, no. Bye-bye, sapphire. Bye-bye, love. Bye-bye, happiness. Sorry. Yeah. Again, Heather and I getting real punchy this time of the holiday season. Okay, so I'm not going to try that again on camera because obviously... Molly! And you're under your own name! That's awesome! Hey! How are you doing? Right, seriously. Actually, if you really want to go treasure hunting at Beading Dreams, you would jack up our central island.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of treasure under there. Okay, so this is heavy wall tubing. There are diamonds, there are all kinds of stuff. But this is heavy wall tubing, and Rio is really nice because what they'll tell you is they'll tell you for each size of tubing what size stone fits in it. In addition to your heavy wall tubing, you also need a setting burr, okay? So a setting burr is a little drilly device that looks like this. That's going to go into my rotary tool, and what that's going to do is it's going to literally carve out a little setting for my stone. So hopefully, of course, the one I dropped on the floor fit perfectly. Hopefully one of these two will fit as well. Okay, so you're gonna need, you know what else you're gonna need? You're gonna need some bezel strip. You know what I don't have over here? Bezel strip.
Do you need me to go get it?
Can you get me my box of bezel strip?
I can get you your box of basil.
That's so I am always trying to tempt everyone, Pam. It's my job. I actually got reprimanded, thank you, by a customer earlier for always trying to get her in trouble, and Carol pointed out that that's basically my job and how I pay the bills. And she's not wrong.
She isn't wrong.
But yeah, this is a gold vermeil and pave diamond pendant. Actually, speaking of things flying, so I had my diamond ohm pendant with me this morning, and I may have been running a little bit late getting out of the house. So I just literally grabbed all of the jewelry that I wanted to wear, all the necklaces that I wanted to wear, and ran out the door. Got in my car, threw them on the passenger seat, and figured I would dress myself jewelry-wise at stoplights. So I get to Beading Dreams, or more specifically to the church, the Presbyterian church where we park, near Beading Dreams, and my diamond ohm on my clippy ring is the last thing for me to put on, and I grab my necklace, I open the clippy ring, I put it around my neck, and the diamond ohm goes sailing. I don't even know where. I know it's in my car, but I have no idea where. So I'm like, you know, I had a noon stream, so I said some choice words and, you know, got my ass out the car and, you know, got myself to Beading Dreams. And those of you who saw the noon stream know that I successfully did manage to do that. But then, of course, I had my clippy ring and I had nothing to go on it. So I'm borrowing from myself this beautiful pendant, gold vermeil and diamond pave blue topaz, with a lovely diamond pave bail. This pendant is for sale if anybody wants it. Regular price on it is $300. I would be more than happy to do 25% off on that as a holiday special.
Woo!
And at some point I will find, I'll find the diamond ohm pendant. It's, like I said, I heard it, like, I was in my car, the doors were closed, the windows were closed, like, it's gotta be in my car somewhere. I just did not have time to tear my car apart to try and find it. And it gave me an excuse to wear this really pretty blue topaz pendant, so, you know, silver lining and all that. Okay, so in addition to stones, tubing, sheet metal, you're going to need bezel strip. So bezel strip is fine silver or sterling silver. That was almost bad. I prefer fine silver because you don't have to worry about it oxidizing so much. And what you need is you need a bezel strip that's just going to come, that's high enough to come up and over the curvature of your stone. So this is 1/8 inch bezel strip, and that's what I'm going to use this evening. But it comes in a variety of different sizes. A lot of fair, Megan. Megan's not wrong. God, I still have, and I can't bear to get rid of it, I still have in my cash register what I believe is a wedding ring that somebody lost on the pavement. Like the year that I bought Beading Dreams. It's been in the register for like 15 years because I just keep thinking someday this person's going to come back in, and I'm sure they never will. But it was one of those, like, I remember the client coming in, or the person coming in, and I remember noticing this ring on her hand, but she was a new client, never got her name, never got her number. She left. 20 minutes later, someone else comes in with the ring saying, hey, I found this in the parking lot. And I'm like, I remember, like, I can picture the person to whom this belongs, but I have no idea what her name is. I have no way to contact her. You know, all I have is the hope that she's going to come back in at some point, which, of course, she never did. But the ring is still in my cash register because I can't bear to do anything with it. Oh, yeah. Diamonds. Well, I still think Heather's sister-in-law has probably the best ring losing story, which is she lost her engagement ring in the Gulf of Thailand.
Yep. It's gonna wash up one day.
Someday, some treasure hunter is going to be real happy.
With an Asher cut
With
center diamond and 2 green diamonds on the sides.
But now she has a gigantic new diamond ring that she got here in Dallas. Okay, so bezel strip, sheet metal, tubing, something for the ring band. I'm going to be using some 10 gauge square wire, but you can really use whatever you want, half round, flat, even a pre-made ring shank. Any of those are going to be all good. As far as tools, you're going to need all of your soldering tools, plus ring mandrel and various other things that I'll talk about as it comes time to utilize them. Alright, so I need to focus a bit because we have an unboxing stream in 45 minutes. Okay, so we're going to start by determining your ring size. If you already know your ring size, that's great. I'm going to make a size 7 ring because that is kind of an average size. When you're making anything out of wire, and those of you who are regulars on the Beading Dreams stream should know this by now, but I'm going to say it again. Anyway, wire springs up. Wire's going to get bigger but wire's going to get bigger after you form it because you've got a little bit of spring in there, even if it's dead soft wire. So if I'm going to make a size 7 ring shank, I'm going to go up pretty far on my ring mandrel. I'm going to go ahead and go to size 4. So that's about 3 sizes smaller, and I'm going to wrap this around my ring mandrel. I'm going to try not to smack myself in the face, and I'm going to try not to smack my camera in the face. And I'm going to wrap it around so that it's overlapped, like so. And then I'm just going to slide it down until I get to the size that I actually want. Then I'm going to grab my Dream Sharpie. Anybody who was on the stream last night knows what that's all about. And I'm going to just mark across. That's where I'm going to cut, and then I can go ahead and pull that off. Oh my gosh, who was it? Was it Tina that lost her ring in the yard and found it like months later? Yeah. Pam's mom lost her diamond from the setting in the yard. It was never found.
Wow.
Yep. Check your prongs regularly. Just hold your ring up to your ear and shake it. And if you hear rattling, then that means that things need... That's not a good sign. That means things need to be tightened. But it really is just that simple. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut on those lines. Make sure you use your flush cutters properly. That means I want the flat side of my cutters to be towards the part of my ring that is staying. Alright, so there is my basic size 7 ring shank. Okay, so honestly, if you wanted to just take this at this point and solder it together, I mean, obviously you need to file it, but I mean, that's literally how you make just a plain band ring. Now, since this is square wire, I'm going to put it on a bench block. I'm going to hammer it a little bit to flatten it out, but yeah, this is the simplest possible iteration of creating a ring. Now, what I am actually going to do is I'm going to create my bezel setting, and I'm going to solder, I'm going to do a single tube setting on it this evening, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that out of the center of my ring and solder everything together so I don't wind up with a ring that is too big. So now let's go ahead and create our bezel setting. So I've got my ring shank, it's formed, and it's just going to hang out for a minute while I create my bezel. So I'm going to really have not enough flat surface in my streaming area. Okay, so I'm going to grab my stone, which is a Black Star Enstatite, which is Star Enstatite is kind of like a poor man's star sapphire. It does absolutely exhibit asterism if you put a pinpoint light on it, otherwise it just has a really cool kind of chatoyant vibe to it. Also, I swear to God I focused the thing before I got on the thing, but now it's not focused. Adjustable ring bands are totally worth using, especially if you're selling your stuff. Adjustable ring bands are nice because since you don't know to whom you're going to be selling, it's nice to have that option of being able to just offer, different sizes whilst constructing your ring only once. And that's actually, thank you for reminding me that that's actually a pretty good future class. Exactly. Make your own adjustable ring. I can do this. I know how to focus the camera. Apparently, though, I don't know how to focus the camera. Focus. Okay, so I'm going to take my bezel and I'm going to form it around my stone. And the one benefit that comes if you're using a round stone is that you don't actually have to form the bezel around the stone. You can actually form it around something else, like a mandrel or form, which is a little bit easier. But when you're doing a bezel for an irregular stone, you literally do have to form the bezel around the stone. Like the stone is actually your, right? Seriously, Lori. Your stone is actually your form. You want a nice tight fit. Once you've formed it around your stone, you're going to go ahead and trim it. Alright, and that's our bezel that's going to get soldered together. Now, since solder will not flow across a gap, we need to go ahead and file this just a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using a file to straighten up the edges so that they will meet up with no space in between. And then we're going to go ahead and bring these edges together. Use our pliers to make sure that they are going straight in towards each other, and then we're going to tension fit that so that those edges are actually touching. And at this point, your bezel will probably have achieved some incredibly wonky shape like mine has. That's okay. Alright, now I'm going to grab my soldering surface. I'm going to skip my 5-point soldering safety lecture for the purpose of time. I'm just going to say don't set things on fire. Be safe, be cautious, have common sense, and don't light shit on fire. Cheers. Since my metal is very, very oxidized, I'm going to go ahead and flex that and set it aside. My fine silver, I don't have to flex because fine silver doesn't oxidize, so that I can just go ahead and solder. I'm sorry, Megan is disappointed in my message that you should not set shit on fire. Don't set anything on fire that doesn't deserve it. How about that? And I'm going to use some easy solder to solder this close. So I'm going to take a little bitty piece of easy solder. You can see it is very, very small. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flux that piece of easy solder, because even though the fine silver bezel won't oxidize, the solder actually will. And then I'm going to see if I have the tweezers. Tweezers are one of those things that always just seems to like flee from me. It's like I never have one when I want one. Usually because I've run off with one, or all of them apparently. Okay, well, you know, whatever. Pliers work too. So I'm going to take my bezel and I'm going to set it on top of that piece of solder so that the joint is sitting right on the solder. Then I'm going to grab my torch and I'm going to heat this all up until my solder flows. And one of the things I like about putting the solder underneath is that it's really obvious when the solder flows, because see, your bezel will move. Alright, you just want to come up your bezel just like that. Wham bam. There you go. So now my bezel is soldered shut. I'm going to give it a second to cool, and then I'm going to form it around my stone again. Then I'm going to solder it back down, or solder it down to my back piece. Which I just dropped on the floor. Excuse me. Again, dearth of flat space. Okay, so now that this is cool, I'm going to grab my stone. she says, whilst having absolutely no idea where her stone actually is. Seriously? I just had it! Also, everything just fell down. So that's exciting.
What can I do?
Nothing. I'll pick it all up. At the moment, I've lost my stone because I'm just that awesome. It all fell down.
What stone?
My Instatight for the ring that I'm making.
Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think I knocked it down.
Okay.
But I could have knocked it down. Aren't you guys so happy you're walking such an organized stream? No, I've got my 2 tiny stones, Lori. I put those aside, but I just formed my bezel around that Instatight and then
What color is it?
black.
Yeah. That's not it.
That's definitely not it. Oh, we are just no, the stuff that fell was not in your room, Aso. The stuff that fell was definitely in my room. Alright, so let's see if this one will fit in the bezel that I just made. Goodness. Okay, so let's see. This is an experiment. Alright, so I've got my new stone and I've got my bezel that I just soldered, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to form my bezel around my stone, and unfortunately, nope, that bezel is too small for this stone. So like all of this, yeah, all of this warping and such is really not good.
Sorry, I tried.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's on this table somewhere. I just can't see it because it's hiding from me. It's turned into some, you know, or it's entered into some weird pocket dimension.
Those pocket dimensions are... They'd be really great if you could control them in any way.
Seriously, I mean, there are definitely clients that I would like to send to pocket dimensions.
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually something that happens fairly frequently, which is all of a sudden you're searching for a new stone. Maybe it doesn't happen to metalsmiths who are better than I am, but it happens fairly frequently to me. Of a couple of reasons that this happens often. Reason number 1 is I dropped it. I lost it. I can't find it. It's somewhere on my messy workspace, and I'm not going to find it until probably tomorrow. Number 2, oftentimes, is, oh shoot, the bezel that I made is either too big or too small for the stone that I picked, and now I need to find something that fits it better. So, you know, don't beat yourself up when this happens to you, because as you can tell, it happens... I'm not going to say it happens to a lot of people, because I'm not going to say a lot of people are quite this level of hot mess, but it does happen a lot of, you know, to a lot of people a lot of the time. Alright. No, you're way too big. Oh, goodness. I'm really surprised it didn't fit this one. So anyway, so in 30 minutes we are going to be unboxing our shaker and spoon cocktail box. I'm very excited by that. It's been sitting here since last week. And I sincerely hope that nothing in it has gone rancid, but I haven't peeked. I undid the tape. That's all I did with the shaker and spoon box. So very excited about that. That unboxing stream is going to start at 7:30 p.m. Which means really I need to get my rear in gear and find the stone for this. Nope, too big. Oh, you know, why things gotta be this way? Why things never gotta go right? Okay, I think that the scarab is the winner for being the closest fit for this particular setting. So I went ahead and I fit that around my scarab. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but it's not bad. So, alright, so there's my setting for my little scarab. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solder that down to the back plate. I'm going to grab my soldering board off the floor, which is where it currently is, along with all my sheet metal and my bezel strip and also my cardigan. After you've formed that around your stone, take your stone out. Okay? This is the thing that's somewhat revelatory for a lot of people when you learn how to solder, is the stone is always the very last thing that goes into your piece. So you're going to use your stone to test your shape multiple times, but it doesn't actually go in your piece till the very, very end. Alright, now I'm going to cut 3 pieces of easy solder. I'm going to distribute those around my bezel here, and then I'm going to solder my bezel down to my back plate. So when I'm distributing my pieces of solder, what I want, ideally, is I want them to be touching where your back plate and your bezel meet. So I just want to kind of snug them up to that joint. And then I'm going to heat this until my solder flows and zips. Zips my bezel down to my back plate. So we're just going to heat the whole thing. As that solder flows. Say that again? Oh! Well, yay!
Yeah.
Ah! Alright, well that's not good. Okay. At this point, I'm calling this stream. So what happened was, this is why you should use different densities of solder when you're making pieces that have multiple joints. So what happened here is my joint on my bezel came undone while I was trying to zip it down to my back plate, and then I decided I was going to try and be, you know, nifty and squeeze it back together, and hopefully it would resolder itself while I was zipping it down. And no, I just actually completely squished it out of all recognizable shape. And so at this point, there's really no way I'm going to finish this project by 7:30. So, yeah. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, for my utter lack of a project this evening. I'm really, really sorry. I'm, again, going to go with Christmas as a reason for this. I'm going to try to get this bezel done and show you how to finish out the bezel before I actually get off stream, but the ring is probably not happening tonight, we're going to call this a series of unfortunate events, and it is what it is. Sometimes that happens. When you're fabricating, sometimes that happens in life. You know, I'm in a couple of metalsmithing groups on Facebook, and seriously, you know, people are like, sometimes you just have crappy days. Like, sometimes it just isn't working, and it's okay for it not to be working. And, you know, really the only solution to that is to step away. Like, walk away, leave it be, and come back to it when you're fresher. It's entirely possible that maybe I will have found my Instatype when I come back to this project, and I will probably finish this on a Freeform Friday so that everybody can actually see how it works. I will put an adjustable ring class on the streaming schedule and another tube setting class, but first I'm going to figure out what the actual heck is going on with this. Oh, there's schmutz in there. Schmutz is never helpful. Like, why is it not fitting? What the hell are you, schmutz? Oh, I know what you are. You're solder. And now the bezel's on the floor. So obviously I'm not meant to finish this today. Oh, Lord. Y'all. Huh, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
We're still here with you.
They are, everyone is, well, no, one person apparently got disgusted and left. But everyone else is still here.
I don't know that anyone necessarily got disgusted and left.
Well, nobody said that they got disgusted, but somebody did leave.
Yeah, but there are plenty of reasons to leave.
Okay, so I formed this around my little scarab again, and we're going to put this again back down onto my piece of metal. And we're going to try Uno Mas to zip this bezel down. If it doesn't work this time, then we're just calling it done. So, I'm going to kind of rest my tweezers on there so that I have contact. My bezel is definitely a little warped. There we go. So what you want is you don't want to be able to see any airspace between the bezel and the sheet metal. The solder flowed, so that's good. The bezel's definitely had a bit of a wonky shape to it. That's less good. But at the moment, we're going to go with it. So I've got my solder to flow all around this side, so I just need to close up this end of the bezel. And of course, it's not being cooperative, because why would it be cooperative? Just zip. precious metal. Okay, I think I actually successfully zipped it down.
Yay!
Shockingly. Also, I successfully stuck it down to my solder board. Not surprising. So let's go ahead and get that off. Cool. But I have concerns about whether you actually zipped.
I
You
don't
are
wear zippers anymore. Those are only on hard pants.
Fair. Alright. So almost, but not quite. Hey, Fire Drake. Yeah, no. Today is not going well for me. Soldering wise, I've definitely had some challenges. This ring is not going to be a ring, and I don't even know that it's going to be a pendant at this point. Since I have another stream at 7:30, but I did not successfully zip this completely down because there is a giant gap through which you could drive a very small tractor trailer right there. So we're going to try one more round with the soldering to see if I can get that to zip down. And then, like I said, if I can't get this to zip down, we are going to just call this an episode of Allison Has a Very Bad Day on the Internet. And we're going to revisit this project on like a Freeform Friday or something like that. But once again, this is how it goes, y'all. I mean, seriously.
Real life is this.
Real life is this. Real life is things screw up usually when you least want them to. Apparently when, you know, a dozen people on the internet are watching you specifically. And it's just how it goes. And, you know, the sucky thing about the holiday season is that it puts us all on this giant time crunch where we don't have time to screw up. We don't have time to let things, you know, we don't have time to walk away. We don't have time to let it rest, you know, because there's this crazy, just artificial deadline that all of us... Pardon?
Everything is an emergency.
Everything is an emergency. There's this crazy artificial deadline that we're all kind of, you know, just under, and it's insanely stressful. And this is why people go freaking bonkers at the holidays, including yours truly. Okay, I did actually successfully zip that down. All right, this bezel is actually soldered now down onto this back plate. It is also hot AF, so I'm going to give it a second to cool, and then we will trim it. And I think I just decided that it's going to be a pendant instead of a ring. Though, actually, my ring shank is cut. It could still be a ring. Let's still make it a ring. We're just going to skip the tube setting part. So, I'm going to take, whilst I'm waiting for my setting to cool down, I'm going to take my ring shank that I made earlier, and I'm just going to real quick, seriously, Fire Drake is so smart! Luckily, most of my personal, so I'm going to file this so that I can solder it. Luckily, most of my personal people are totally fine with gifts coming in the new year. You know, the problem is my clients who are not fine with their holiday gifts that they are giving to their people coming in the new year. That's where my stress level just kind of goes off the charts. Okay, so I've got that. I nicked this with my cutters. That's going to be under my settings, so I'm going to choose not to worry about it, but I'm just going to put this on my soldering board, and I'm going to solder this ring together. So I'm just going to flux that joint, grab myself a little bit of easy solder, stick it on there, and heat that up. And so the fact that I am like completely lacking apparently in tweezers and also solder picks is not helping me here at all. Wait, this solder ball needs to be not there. It needs to be there. Awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and heat. And there we go. Alright, now my ring is soldered together. I do want to put this on a bench block, and I want to pound it flat. See how warped it is? This is something that happens when you're using square wire a lot, is when you bend it in a circle, it likes to go out of square. And so just putting it on a bench block and pounding it with a rawhide mallet is going to get it back into shape real quick. And now it's on the floor.
Of course it is. Wow.
Why am I even trying at this point? And also, it's fucking hot. Ouch. Sorry. This is a cursing stream.
Fire streams or swear streams? That's the
Well, fire streams are swear streams when things don't work, for sure. Okay. So now I've got my bezel. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Alright, now I've got my bezel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quick cut this out, and then I'm going to solder it down onto my ring, and I think that's probably, right? I mean, I think I'm having a very me day to fire Drake, because that's, as we get closer and closer to the holidays, like, everything goes. So I'm cutting with the metal shears around my bezel so that I just have my metal essentially flush with my bezel. I mean, as I get closer to Christmas, everything goes. Like the, excuse me, the manual dexterity, you know, the mental acuity, what little of it there was to begin with, like it just all, it's just this downward slide into just becoming, by Christmas Day, I'm like a pile of goo. I have no wherewithal to do anything. I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's one of my favorite holidays, and luckily for me, it falls at the beginning of the Christmas season, so I actually have the mental capacity to cook a nice meal and enjoy it and everything. Christmas, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna order a pizza and sit in our pajamas. That's my ideal Christmas day, is not having to do anything, because at that point, literally, I just can't. Okay, so now what I can do, since I have a sanding wheel already set up on my Dremel, is I can turn that on and I can just sand this down flush with my bezel. Also, friction's a thing. Ouch! This is why wearing gloves is not a bad idea. If you are wearing gloves, however, with a rotary tool, please make sure that they fit you well. You don't want to wear loose-fitting gloves with a rotary tool, because the gloves can get caught in the rotary tool, and that is no bueno. But if you have a pair of super grip gloves, those are usually really nice. And I do have some. They're just, you know, over there. Oh no! Wearing the finger is never bueno. Happens to me fairly often at work as well. But hey, I don't. Why did I just say but hey? Where was I going with that? I have literally no idea where I was going with that. I don't even know where I was going with that, but hey, like, it sucks when you stab yourself at work. I think there's no silver lining to that. It just sucks when you stab yourself at work. Alright, so I've sanded down most of this. Okay, so I did not get this completely zipped, okay? Right there is the gap of shame. We're gonna ignore that and pretend it's not there. Well, you're not watching the stream. Of course you can't see anything. So I'm just gonna finish sanding this, and then I'm gonna solder it onto my ring shank. So this was supposed to be a tube set and bezel set ring. However, through a series of misfortunes, including losing my stone on my work surface, I have not moved from this spot, and yet my stone is missing. So we had a midstream stone change, and so we're just gonna go with a bezel set ring instead of bezel and tube set ring. For anybody who is just pissed right now because I'm not gonna get to the tube setting, I will put another tube setting tutorial on after Christmas, I promise. The reason that I do have to make sure to end this on time is we do have another stream at 7:30. We have an unboxing stream for our shaker and spoon cocktail box, which I'm actually super excited. Like, that's my fun stream. That's not like a work stream. For me, it's gonna be fun to unbox it. All right, so we have now our bezel that I have sanded for the most part down flush. So we have the gap of shame there. Again, we're pretending that doesn't exist. I didn't completely finish sanding here, probably because it was burning my fingers. So, you know, there are a lot of people out there who are amazing metalsmiths and are super talented and extremely skilled, and somehow, you know, manage to pull off feats of brilliance with their torches and metal that do not involve getting stabbed, filed, punctured, burned, or otherwise injured. I am not that person. This is not the stream you're gonna go to for that. This is the stream where occasionally I screw up so badly that I have to, you know, cancel a project. I will burn myself, I'll torch myself, I will stab myself. Like, I am the Hot Mess Express, that some of you, I hope, are as well, or at least are sympathetic to in the fabrication world, because grace and aplomb, neither quality is something of which I am possessed. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and solder this bezel onto the ring, and then I'm gonna take a real quick break because we got to be back in 6 minutes for our unboxing stream. All right, so I'm gonna flux the back of this bezel. Put it on camera. I'm gonna grab one more piece of easy solder. Now, my other problem here, the thing that started all of this is I really should have had medium easy and extra easy solder near to hand for my project tonight, and I didn't. I opened my drawer and all I had was easy, 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 and more easy. So that's, I'm glad that everyone enjoys the fact that I am a hot mess, because that ain't changing pretty much ever. Like, trust me, my mother's been trying to whip that out of me for years and it hasn't worked. Okay, so now I'm gonna sweat this solder onto the back of this bezel. So I'm going to heat this until the solder flattens out. Sorry, I'm trying to see it past my camera. Make sure you all can see it. Alright, I'm just going to let that spread out on the back of that. Now I'm going to grab my ring shank. And if you want to be spiffy, which I feel like, I mean, for me, the spiffy train has probably sailed for the night, but you can take the joint where you soldered your shank and put that onto the back of your bezel, and that is going to hide the joint on your ring. It's going to look a little bit cleaner. So I'm just going to hold that on the back of my bezel, and I'm going to heat everything until that solder reflows and bonds everything together. And this is going to take a minute because you got a lot of metal going on here. Make sure you heat everything. And you could also set this up with a third hand with a cross-locking tweezers. The way that I have my soldering set up for the camera, though, that doesn't work as well for me. Alright, so take your... I did not reflux, Megan. There's plenty of flux already on there. Alright, and that is now soldered onto my bezel. And my gap of shame has gotten bigger. That's it. This ring is officially done. Alright. Yeah, but it's huge now. Look at this. So the gap of shame, which was like a 16th or an 1/8 of an inch. Like, it got bigger by a solid 16th of an inch. Let me see if I can show you my gap of shame here. Yeah, it's here, right there. It's totally, it wasn't like, you can see right there, you can see light through it. Yeah, so that gap of shame was a little smaller, and it got even bigger whilst I soldered it together. So you know what? We're gonna put this ring in timeout, and I'm gonna come back to it. I'll try and finish it tomorrow and show it on stream tomorrow evening during our Zoom call. But yeah, can you bend it open? See, Megan actually has some good ideas. Like, can you incorporate the gap in the design? Yes, I absolutely could. See, there you go. See, look at that gap of shame. Look at it. See how gappy it is? It's just taunting me with its light and gappiness. So anyway. So anyway, alright, so tube and bezel set ring was not a success this evening on the Beading Dream stream. Thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in to watch me try. So what's going to happen right now is I'm going to put this ring in timeout. It's going to go think about what it did, and I'll come back to it tomorrow and figure out whether I'm going to actually incorporate that gap into the design as Megan suggested, if I'm going to try and close that gap, what I'm going to try and do. But anyway, this is as far as we got on the Beading Dream stream tonight. So thank you all so much for hanging out and being with me on this journey of frustration. Also, this does not fit in my drawer. I will say, this is the one thing that is a little frustrating about that heavy wall tubing. We'll talk about that more when I actually do manage to have a setting class that includes tube setting instead of just saying that it includes tube setting. Is they only come in 12-inch sections, which is enough tubing to last you for like a freaking decade. I really honestly think I bought this piece of tubing like 10 years ago, and it's still almost 12 inches long, because you barely need any per setting. So yeah, so that's it. That's me. I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas, with a not super successful Torch Thursday class. Again, I'm just gonna put the blame firmly on the Christmas season for the fact that this class didn't work out so well. I'm going to put this ring in timeout, and we're going to be back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream, momentarily with our shaker and spoon unboxing stream. I'm literally going to put away all the chemicals and the things that are poisonous, and then restart the stream unboxing our shaker and spoon cocktail box. So please, everybody, do me a huge favor, even if you're not interested in the shaker and spoon unboxing stream, if you could just, log on to the stream. You don't even have to listen to me, but I'm hoping for some good numbers, because I'm, trolling for sponsorships. So if you're up for helping us out a little bit, we would really love it if you would just come on back for the shaker and spoon unboxing stream that's going to start in about 5 minutes, just so we can have some good numbers for that. And of course, we'll be back on, hey Robin, I'm about to stop and restart for the unboxing stream. You just missed me not making a ring, because I had a series of unfortunate events. But hey, I found my Insta-Tight. It's right here. Right there. So yeah, we'll be back on this channel, twitch.tv/beadingdream, in just a minute with our unboxing stream. So I'll see you guys in just a minute. To unbox our shaker and spoon box. Again, thank you so much for hanging out for this particular episode of Allison Screws Up on the Internet, and we will see you in just a minute.